Good afternoon, St. Joseph's School. So this week here at school is all about report cards. Our teachers spent the first half of the week frantically getting all the details together and finishing report cards, and I've been spending the second half of the week frantically getting details together, reviewing report cards, and getting them ready to be published. In fact, if you're watching this video on Saturday or Sunday, there's a good chance that your child's report card is published and you've seen it already. So it gives me a good memory going back to high school. I had this great idea my senior year of I wanted to do this anti-senior slide. I know, overachiever, whatever. But senior year, a lot of people like really tail off at the end once you get the college acceptance. They're not as into school anymore. You kind of just get by, and I'm like, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to keep working until the very, very end. And so I had this great idea that my senior year, I was just going to keep pressing on to the very, very finish. And when I got my report card senior year and looked at my very last report card, I had an A in everything, except I had an A- in band. Now, mind you, I had an A in band every semester leading up to that, but my final one of my senior year, I had an A-. And first when I saw that, I was really defensive and thinking, you gotta be kidding me. An A- your last semester senior year? And then I stopped and thought, and I was like, wait a minute. How much have I really practiced that's extra? Have I done all the practice I need to? Have I really contributed a lot of extra things to the band? The reality is, I was probably a B or a B+ or maybe a B- player on the trumpet in band. And an A- was probably deserving or even generous from where I was in band. It was probably the grade I should have had all along. Now, we have two great opportunities for feedback that happen in a school. One of them is report cards, and the other one are performance reviews that our teachers, that our faculty get. Report cards might be the most detailed and intricate performance reviews we ever get in our life. Think about it. I have had jobs where I have not been reviewed for years on end. I have also been a student and had report cards coming every quarter or trimester or semester. We in school give a very, very detailed review of performance 3 times a year like clockwork. Not a lot of places can do that. Now, when we get these report cards back or a performance review back, we have a couple of temptations. One is we can immediately fixate on the negative. We look at something and think that's the 2 and everything else is 3s, or that's the 1 and everything else is 2s, or that's the C and everything else is a B, or like me, that's the A- in band and everything else is an A. It's very human that we do that, but when we do that, we lose track of all of the other really good constructive data that was given to us because we're so fixated on that one negative thing. The other great temptation we have with report cards or performance reviews is that we immediately write them off. We might casually glance at it and just put it away. Or we might blame the messenger and say, I don't agree with that. The person that gave me this report card doesn't know what they're talking about. Or sometimes we don't even open a report card at all. There are jobs that sometimes avoid the entire process of performance review because it is messy and it's not easy. See, thinking back on all of this, it's good to remember that school is a great preparation for life. One of the best life skills that we can leave school with is the ability to handle feedback, both constructive and positive, both the good and the bad. So when we look at report cards or when we look at a performance review, do we get immediately defensive when we see it? Or are we open to that? Do we welcome this new information? When we get constructive feedback, are we coachable? Do we believe we can learn from this and do better? Do we accept it? Or do we write it off and continue doing what we're doing? Do we have a growth mindset? When we get constructive feedback, are we able to take that and say, I am adapting, I am changing, I am constantly growing? Thank you for that information. Or do we give up? Do we feel helpless against it? So I hope if you're seeing this video sometime this weekend, you've had the chance to review your child's report card. I hope you have a wonderful weekend, a good report card, and we'll see you next week.